Throughout the years of doing newspapers, we have come upon a lot of really crazy things. Years and years ago, when my mom was throwing Gulf Harbors, the SWAT team actually stopped her, like helicopters and dogs and everything like that, because several people had called in that there was a vehicle driving slowly and suspiciously up and down every street, which tends to be how you throw newspapers. Um, we've had people literally chase us down blocks, pin us into a dead end, get out of the car, and see that it's a woman and it was two young girls, me and my cousin, and just got back in their car and drove away. Not sure what that one was. Um, my point of all of this, that if you think about your job and like the things that you are required to do day to day and how the common public looks and thinks about those things. So, like, for example, us with newspapers, we've had many incidences throughout the years where people have stopped us assuming something either because we're a suspicious vehicle driving up and down every street. We've had somebody stop us because they seen us throwing those beer bottles at every house. It's not beer bottles, it was newspapers. But it was about perception, especially seeing that back in the day, we used to throw in like crazier hours in the night. Throughout the years, papers have shifted and things about have shifted. My point here is if you really think about your job and the parts of it where you end up in public doing things that other people are seeing but not understanding, how like, have you ever sat there and, like, giggled to yourself when you caught yourself in one of those moments where you're like, "Oh, somebody just made eye contact with me, and I know they don't have context what I'm doing right here, and I'm, like, wonder what they're thinking?" How much of our fears have been based on these type of things? So, we're not the only newspaper carriers. We're not the only newspaper carriers that have ever been stopped or whatever for driving up and down suspiciously or harassed for throwing things because people misperceived it. How much of our fear has been based on these kind of things that we live in a world with so many other people, and because you don't actively like interact with the hundreds of people that are able to perceive you in a day, you don't really think about um like that you're being perceived by hundreds and hundreds of people every day and how they're perceiving you throughout those things. So, what I'm trying to say is, as like the tensions and pull has gone back and forth, I think that there has been a kind of a highlight on this where people have tried to stop things that they perceive as bad or whatever to find out like, oh my God, I misjudged the situation and things like that. Like this, I'm going to end this here in just a minute. My whole thoughts on this were just can you as a human being just kind of start thinking about like those misunderstandings that happen in real life and that I don't know, like your own points, your own observations of these kind of things. I know as a human being, you have been at work and you have had those moments where people are perceiving you and like those thoughts and humorous things about like what that was. The more that we share these things, the more that we share like what our job is and how people can perceive us and things like this, the easier it is for people to stop fearing things that were built off of misunderstandings in the first place. Um, so if you could just, share your own thoughts. How are you? It sounds like you are stressed. I am always stressed. The last few years have been going through a mental breakdown, but I'm doing it as positively as I can, and I'm sharing the healing process with the world. So yes, you're getting to see this stuff. My day started at 5:45. My alarm clock went off. I had to go two towns over to go get 6,000 newspapers, and then home and load them and then go roll them and then back and forth. And then at one point, take my daughter to work and then go throw more papers and then come home and then roll more papers. So this is coming like thoughts off of like, I don't know, like 13, 14 hours of work. So yeah, human beings are going to share with you in different aspects of their life. A lot of what you see of people are them stressed out or things like this, and you're not getting that full context. So you're perceiving it from whatever your perception of things like that are, whatever you've encountered. So if it's yelling, and the yelling that you've encountered was from like a negativity that was like selfish or something like that, when you hear people freaking out in public, that's going to be more where your mind lines you rather than, oh my God, they had a really bad day and there's like a lot of things happening here and just they're being a person and they couldn't control themselves in public because some people can't. Sometimes there is a lot of stuff that happens. There's a lot of times that we're perceiving people in situations that are like literally seconds after car accidents and things like that, and we're getting a glimpse of what they're doing and not really fully processing what we would be acting like in that stuff. Like, I don't know. Um, Sorry you're dealing with a lot. No, everybody's dealing with a lot. I mean, that's part of being human. That's part of me coming out here and going like, "Oh, here, look, here is my load." It's because I want other people to be like, "Oh, yeah, that's not just her. We're over here with that same." Because we're all stressed out. We're all living in a world like 100 years ago. You had to spend at least an hour cooking in a lot more slow, relaxed setting than it is now. Now, your meal time is fast paced because you have to work and you have to travel and you have to do this and you have to do that. If you have kids, you're transporting kids back and forth, and there's just so many extra things that isn't exactly the same as it was 100 years ago. 100 years ago, you relied a lot more on your community for some of these things that we now are dealing as everyday stressors as normality. We also live in a world where we're so used to instant that our minds are stressed out by just the normality of the world. When we're caught in that, we're like, oh God, no, no, I'm so used to instant. But no, the world is not instant. It's we've fooled ourselves into that through technology and having tools and things that make things go faster. I don't know. Personally, I think I'd rather go back 100 years ago where we work a little harder in doing each thing, but we're able to pace ourselves a lot better while we go through it. Um, Bro. Hi, bro. I like that word. Bro and dude. I like those two words. Um, I don't know why. I don't know if you guys can see the comments. I'm not really sure how this works because when I watched the back of one of my lives, like watched it back, none of that stuff shows. So I don't know if you guys get to see each other's comments or how this fucking shit works. But I'm probably gonna head back to relaxing because I just stopped working, started to relax, and then had a thought that if I didn't share right then and there, I was going to go to sleep and forget about it and not pass that thought on. And I thought it was something that I would like people to try to possibly look at for themselves and see if they see that pattern themselves. Because I think a lot of our world is from misunderstanding. And not to say that people don't intentionally do bad. I just think a lot more of it is from misunderstanding than we want to give credit to because we have so much emotion invested in it. So, there's my thoughts for tonight. Bye.